With Joe Biden relinquishing his chance at re-election and endorsing his vice president, Kamala Harris is now set to face Donald Trump in November's elections. As the race to the White House really hots up, everyone's asking who will be Kamala Harris's running mate. Among the contenders is Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, a must-win state in this election, and picking him could go a long way to get Harris the votes that she needs.
He has this advantage of bringing potentially the crucial state of Pennsylvania with him and locking that down for her, as well as being a rising star of the party who does excite grassroots Democrats, especially in Pennsylvania, but potentially across the Midwest and the rest of the country. He's tipped as a future presidential candidate. However, there may be things that might dissuade her from picking Shapiro, not least his relative inexperience, but I think also the fact that he's another lawyer and another former attorney general in a state just like Harris. So perhaps that seems a little bit samey, and she could do better by reaching out to a different sort of personality.
Another potential running mate is Roy Cooper, the governor of North Carolina, a state which the Democrats have not won in an election since 2008. So picking Cooper could potentially swing the state in November.
I think she could pick him because, as I say, it's a state that the Democrats would love to have and has a very similar amount of electoral college votes to Pennsylvania. So if they were to lose Pennsylvania and win North Carolina, that would cancel that out in the election. Plus, he's got perhaps some of the gravitas that people might think Harris is lacking because they don't know her so well. There are drawbacks, I think, with Cooper that might count against him. He's a little older, he's 67, and perhaps also the fact that he, again, has been another state attorney general, another lawyer, so again, a rather similar profile to Harris, and she might want to break away from that lawyer-Democrat image.
And finally, there's Mark Kelly, whose unique background and experience could send him to the top of the list of potential vice presidents.
So Mark Kelly is a former astronaut, a former space shuttle commander who's travelled tens of thousands of miles through space and has a really compelling personal story, not just his own NASA experience, but the way that he helped nurse his wife, Gabby Giffords, back to health after she was shot and badly wounded at an event in Arizona in 2011 when she was an elected representative there. So Kelly, I think, is from a border state. He's been a critic of Biden's border policies, and Harris is very vulnerable on the border because she was handed the responsibility by Biden to stop the influx and failed completely, actually. So perhaps Kelly shores up that flank a bit. He's also, despite the horrendous shooting of his wife, a gun owner who articulates what many Americans want to hear, which is what you might call middle-of-the-road Second Amendment policies, arguing that there are sensible ways for gun owners to go forward, as well as modifying the law to stop dangerous people getting weapons. So one thing that might count against Kelly is that Harris may be worried about losing the Arizona Senate seat in a very close Senate, a closely divided Senate. However, the Democratic governor of Arizona will get to appoint a replacement for at least a year, I think, before they have to have a replacement election. Another thing that might count against him is that he's a senator, just as Harris was before she became vice president. So it could be argued that there's a lack of governing experience there that a state governor would bring to the ticket. Otherwise, I think that Kelly is possibly the most attractive of those three candidates.
It's already been an unprecedented race to the White House, and one that between now and November 5th could still bring up some twists and turns.